The average turnover rate for homesteaders in America is about 6 years. During this period of time, you will have given all of your energy, your patience, and your money to pursue a goal, only for it to crumble, leaving you with nothing. I wish I could say that this was a rare issue and that this happens to only a few, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Failure rate is actually much more prominent than people care to mention. How do we make sure that we don't end up dropping the bag after pouring our hearts and our savings into such an endeavor? We can increase our chances of success by knowing how and why people fail. In turn, we can create strategies to ensure that it doesn't happen to us. In this video, I want to give you the tools and understanding to make sure that you don't become a part of this alarming statistic. If you want to learn just how to succeed, hit the subscribe button. It helps me know to push out more videos to help homesteaders or those aspiring to homestead like you.
What the hell is it? What do you want? Kill this priest barber. It's one of those flaming bags again.
Reason why I see a lot of people fail is lack of preparation. There are many things that need to come together for you to succeed in the lifestyle, and in order to do so adequately, it requires a fair bit of planning. You have ideas. You have big ideas. You need goals to bring those ideas to life. And you need to know how you're going to complete them. Each goal needs to be broken down methodically before you even consider starting a homestead. Before we started our homestead, we had big ideas. We knew that our end goal was to be 80% self-sufficient. So we outlined our goals to get to that point. The first thing that we needed to do was to be able to provide for ourselves. That includes food, water, and working skills necessary to build and repair infrastructure in our home. In this planning phase, we outlined backups and backup store backups. Which brings us into my next reason. People don't have backups, and if you plan on having a homestead on the power grid, what are you going to do if that power goes out? How are you going to heat your house in the cold of winter or cook your food? How are you going to supply power for the systems that you have in place? Our family uses a gas-powered generator. We have natural gas that runs to it, and if we get a storm that knocks out the power grid, which happens often, we still have a power source that can run all of the systems that we have in place. We have a wood stove in the basement that will heat the house if the grid shuts down and it's like really cold. We also have charcoal and propane
propane and propane accessories
grills outside to cook the food if legit everything else fails. Not only that, but we also have a portable solar generator that will give us just enough power for us to run our systems and personal devices. Backups are very important, and living in the middle of nowhere, you often don't have that ability to call a guy every time that you need help with something. Not to mention, calling a guy is expensive, especially when you can put that money towards something that you use for the homestead. Our next point, financial constraint. People have the idea that they will be able to live off of their savings, but oftentimes that's not the case. Most people find that they will have to find a stream of income to supply their lifestyle.
I'm gonna do what's sensible. I'm gonna file for unemployment. And I'm gonna try to get a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
It's important to be realistic about the financial capital to start and to keep going. Animals, chickens, their feed, their enclosures, coops, runs, gardening. Sure, once you get the seeds, you won't really need to buy more or soil, but unless you purchase your soil first year, your chances of producing a yield, like a good yield within that time frame is very small, especially when you are working to build up compost within that first year. That way you don't need to buy that soil anymore. You also need to buy the gardening equipment, and if you want to extend your growing season, I would definitely recommend getting a greenhouse. Some people find ways to make their lifestyle profitable. Taking jobs off the homestead is time consuming, which will take away from your time on the homestead. Which brings me to my next point. underestimating the time that you will need to dedicate starting out. It will require a lot more time, but you need to have the mindset that even after the initial stages of homesteading, this lifestyle will be a full-time endeavor. Your time management needs to be fluid and impeccable.
Yawn. 4 seconds.
And things can pop up at any time. Procrastination has little place here. The moment that you decide to do something later can have an adverse effect later on. Homesteading, you need to be able to regard patience and energy. To do this, you need to be able to manage your time. Another reason why people fail is land and location. Something that you need to have a preconception of before buying a property is the land. Where are some of the building sites? In West Virginia, the state is built on a mountain. So a lot of properties listed may be sparse and available leveled locations, leveled land, places where you can build on. You need to keep track of not only how much the land is leveled, but monitor the resources and the quality of these resources available. The land needs to at first conform to you and your needs before you have the ability to return what it needs. Do you plan on getting your water from natural springs or creeks instead of digging a well? How are you going to run that water from point A or to point B? Are you going to do so by pump or by gravity? If you're going to do so by gravity, that water source has to be higher elevation than where you're going to run it to. If a soil has too much clay, it can suffocate plants before they grow or hurt root systems. If it's more of a sand-like consistency, then you will likely lack nitrogen-rich substances required to grow your garden. You need to pay attention to weather history as well. A place that is too wet or overcast all the time might not be the most beneficial to the plants that you intend to grow. Now, I've seen this thing really discourage so many people. It's a big discourager for sure. But a huge reason why homesteads fail is pest and disease management. Many birds you may wish to keep, like chickens, ducks, etc., are all prey animals. With that, you need to keep in mind that there will always be predators that would love nothing more than a morsel of what those prey animals provide. You need to be able to adequately prepare and have strategies in motion to keep them all at bay. A couple of ways that you can do this is by giving them a run enclosure. You can actually put their coop inside of a run enclosure. It's just something that they can be in when you aren't there. It also gives them added security when you bring them into their coop at night. Deterrence can also be helpful. Having a pew pew can make a huge difference. Even if you don't plan on having animals, there are garden pests that you also need to be aware of. I'm going to say the biggest reason why many homesteads fail is because of lack of tenacity. People go into this lifestyle with unspoken confidence. When they do this, they're like, it's a fresh start. The world is my oyster. But once they get hit with challenges and horrible hardships, they become disheartened and discouraged. They lose fortitude they once had. They lose that fortitude they once had, and things start going downhill. They start second guessing themselves, and they go back to this lifestyle that they wanted to escape from. Tenacity is the ability to keep going. It's the grit it takes to keep going through the gritty situations. It's being able to fail and keep standing. You will stumble, and most of you will stumble harder than others. But if you keep in mind why you wanted this and you keep working for it, no matter what the circumstance, you come much closer to making it beyond the average turnover date. See, now I'm new to this. You know, we've only been here homesteading for about 2 years now. There's still more years to go before we even claim to not be in that 6-year statistic. But these things are things that I find helpful. And these things are the things that I think about when I'm going through it. You wanna say something? Wanna give them a little bit of inspiration to keep going?
if you take an oak tree seed and you put it in a 2-foot pot, that seed will never become the oak tree that oak trees are capable of becoming because it's gonna get stifled by the 2-foot pot. Now check this out. Ain't nothing wrong with the seed. Seed just fell prey to the environment. You are a seed from God. God made you in his likeness. He big, he vast. Don't you allow your environment to dictate the oak tree that you become.
Alright. But if you like this video and you find it informative, can you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button? Smack the thumbs up button because it helps me find people like you who are interested in this kind of content. And while you're at it, you hit the bell icon so you never miss another video from me. Thank you for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye!